Welcome into another episode of Going for the Green. This week, we are talking about the Rocket Mortgage Classic played in Detroit, a tournament that I've gone to multiple times. Of course, when I walk on it and say, I cannot believe this is a professional course. It's too easy. Denny, how are things going for you?
It does appear too easy. Every year, it looks like just a complete birdie fest from start to finish. And you know what? I'm actually doing okay, Brad, because I'm brave enough to stand up and say I like birdie fests.
Yes.
I mean, there's a place for a U.S. Open where these guys are struggling mightily to make par. I like that too, but I don't mind when these guys are going low. Last week was fun. Watching these guys just aim at every pin and hit it to 5 feet over and over and over. I like that. Let's get more of that this week.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. Listen, the top of the board is so chalky. Like, if you were to tell me Tom Kim won, I'd be like, great. But you're betting on a guy who was 60-1 last week, 12-1 this week. The same thing with Cameron Young, who was almost 80, 100-1. Now he's down to 18. I just can't put my money on those guys, but I do have a play on Cam Young. I'm going to take him top 20. He's had success here with a runner-up finish. And if anything, I think we could kind of look at Cameron Young's game and say, it might be at the level where he can win these kinds of tournaments. And what I mean by these kinds of tournaments, non-signature events, non-majors, mental aspect for me and Cameron Young is what really gets me and why I don't think he's better in the majors. But man, the guy can stripe the ball. He's pumping it off the tee. And here it's not penal at all if you're going to miss these fairways. So a guy who I think he's going to be one of those birdie fest monsters that we bet on all the time moving forward. And I don't think I could quite get there at the 18-1, but I'll definitely play his top 20.
Yeah, one concern there with Young is his putting, and putting does stand out as an important factor here. Yep. But yeah, shot a 59. If folks missed it last week, he shot a 59. He red hot on the weekend. From a DFS standpoint, Cam Young, the entire top of the board is going to be super mega chalky. There's just no way around it. A lot of rostership is going to go toward those top 4 or 5 guys, including Tom Kim and including Young.
Yeah, I agreed there. And I see that you're kind of avoiding the top of the board like I am. And when you sent this name across, Mr. Bobby Mack, Robert McIntyre, I gasped because I was like, no way. Great minds think alike. I do have a bet on him around 40 to 46-1 to win the tournament. Tell me what you like about him.
Look, okay, I just want folks to know my process here with creating a model for this tournament, for this course, did not weigh driving hardly at all, okay? Because there's no penal rough, okay? I've actually seen, I have friends who are boots on the ground there, and they're showing us there's, not much rough to speak of. You don't have to drive it long. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but you don't have to. We all remember Bryson tearing this course apart in 2020, but he also was great on the green. So I'm weighing putting heavily, and I'm weighing short approach play heavily, meaning under 150 yards. So Bobby Mack jumps out because guess what, Brad? There's not a single person on planet Earth hotter than Robert McIntyre on the greens right now. Over the past 20 rounds, McIntyre is first in strokes gained putting. He's first from 10 to 15 feet. He's third in 3-putt avoidance. He's had success on these greens at Detroit Country Club. I mean, he's just red hot, and I like that profile here. I looked at birdie or better metric for everybody in this field. He's 11th over the past 24 rounds. That's pretty good. And overall approach play has been average, but he's been good in the 100 to 150 yard bucket, which again is critical here. I don't think he's going to be super chalky this week. Like I said, a lot of the rostership's going to go straight to the top of the board. Yep. I think a guy like Bobby Mack makes for a good pivot.
You said everything that I want to say about Mr. Mack. Thank you for doing that for me. I want to be clear about this week. Like, there's going to be so many ways you can build your model because there's so many ways to attack this golf course. With my first pick in Cam Young, I was going after a golfer who is powerful off the tee. Now, for my second pick, taking Alex Noren top 20, I'm going for a golfer who's just absolutely consistent. And finally, Denny, Noren is at a golf course that fits his game style, right? If we looked at him at the PGA Championship, RBC Canadian Open, Memorial, and US Open, of course he's going to struggle off the tee. This is a guy who's hitting at about 289 yards, not one of these 312 flyers. And if you look at those last 3 tournaments that I mentioned, the US Open, Masters, and Canadian Open, he lost strokes off the tee on all of those. Well, now he plays at a tournament that he's had success at, where you just hit fairways and greens, you can absolutely kill it, and the length does not matter. So for me, I took Alex Noren. I just want to tell you, in his last 2 starts here, T9, T4, we're back on the Noren train.
He's good on these greens. And like you said, Noren is steady across the metrics, and nothing really pops. He has a good short game. He's good at in approach, especially under 150 yards. So I'm with you. And from a DFS standpoint, he could be interesting in large fields because, like I said, people will say, I need the comfort. I need the comfort of Cam Young and Tom Kim, and they're going to forget about Noren maybe.
Yeah, totally agree. So Matt McNeely, I think, was 6th on my model. Oh, 4th on my model behind Taylor Pendrith, Keith Mitchell, and Pearson Coody. So it looks like you have him rated pretty high as well. What do you like about Matt McNeely this week?
Yeah, so I mean, he is really, really solid and consistent as a DFS option. He's made 13 of 14 cuts this season. His past 3 finishes, Brad, 23rd, 17th, and he was 7th at the RBC Canadian Open in early June. He's 4th best in birdie or better among players in this field this season. And I just think that people are going to kind of see Matt McNeely on DraftKings, and they're going to just kind of scroll past him and not really focus on getting him into their rosters. I'm good with that. I want that as a large field tournament player myself. So yeah, consider him. I think that the sneaky way to go about roster building this week with DFS is to get just a bunch of mid-range guys. All those guys can win this tournament, including, I think, Matt McNeely.
Yeah, I think the top of the leaderboard is going to look kind of funny. We're going to see some names like, how did this guy get up here? He's been playing absolutely horrible. We have to remember, this is a totally different course makeup than the last 4 or 5 weeks that we've had. And I'm going with a guy, he won me some money early in the season at the Mexico Open. But since then's kind of tailed off, right? He had the win at Mexico Open, and he got T4 at the Cognizant Classic, but a lot of missed cuts scattered in between, and that's Jake Knap. I'm betting him outright. I haven't kind of figured out where I want his position to be. And typically, I'm not one of those guys who looks at a stat profile, T48, miscut, and says, I want to bet on the guy. Anywhere you look, it's been red for the past 4 weeks. But again, we are going to an easier golf course. And what I mean by that is I believe Jake Knapp's just strength and length off the tee and his ball speed with his irons gives him a massive advantage, especially without it being penal. So I feel like about every few years, maybe 3 to 4 years, there's that one long, high ball speed, high club head speed golfer that we just bet at events like this. Whether back in the day it was Cam Davis, and then we had Cam Champ. Well, now it's Jake Knapp's turn. He's already picked up a win. I think he can flirt with another one at 110 to 1. I will take my chances of him having an absolute stinger, but I like him at this price.
What you're saying, Brad, is that it could be nap time.
It could be. Hopefully it's a good thing for it to be nap time.
I know, that's the thing. He actually has family members walking around the course saying it's nap time, right? KNAPP, his last name. And I get it. I get the joke. Okay. But also it sounds like, sleepy, is nap time good? Is that, are you excited about it? I mean, I am as a dad, I like nap time, but it's just me.
Listen, if I have a golfer and it says nap time, I feel like they missed the cut and I don't even need to watch on Sunday. But okay, you are going with a golfer, not a household name, Mr. Chandler Phillips. Tell me what's good.
Not a household name at all, I would say. Yeah, Chandler Phillips, he comes in pretty good form, finished top 12 in each of his past 2 events. He ranked top 10 in my model for this week, which again emphasizes birdie or better scoring, putting, and approach play. Over his past 20 rounds, compared to players in this field, he ranks 5th best from 125 to 150 yards. Again, I'm fixated on that bucket, and actually shorter. Because it's going to be so important here. It's going to be a wedge fest, kind of like last week. And look, Chandler Phillips is a streaky putter. He's had some amazing putting runs this season. He's had some not so amazing putting runs. Okay, don't look at his stat profile. I did it for you. You don't have to do it. But so I will say things could go sideways, but he's cheap. If you throw him in there, I think that you can kind of execute the strategy I was talking about earlier, where you can stock up on guys in the 8 to 9,000 range.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun week because there's no Scotty Scheffler, thank goodness, no Xander Schauffele, no Rory McIlroy. The only guys who feel like they consistently win tournaments. Before I let you go, Denny, I have to say this because I was looking. Toad is my favorite character to play in Mario Kart. I play Mario Kart like a couple times a week with the wife. But hey, man, this was fun. I'm excited to get a new winner, and let's cash some tickets.